Announced its India foray with MS Amlin as their first syndicate. CNBC TV 18's Yash Jain caught up with Lloyds global chairman and began by asking him about the reinsurance giant's India ops.
In terms of how we operate, I think it will be more the areas that we will be focused on will be more specialist than some of our competitors, I think. But we and they together, in terms of operations and reinsurance, will be providing, I think, additional capacity to the Indian domestic insurance market.
Right.
So it will should stimulate the domestic insurance market and also provide the capacity and ability for the domestic insurers to write these new specialist forms of risk.
If you look at the Indian insurance market, the life insurance penetration is less than 4%. The general insurance penetration is less than 1%.
Yes.
If you had to list out three biggest opportunities which you see in the Indian insurance market for Lloyds, what would they be?
Well, I think it's a fairly broad spectrum. I think if I was naming one or two lines that I think where we can help, it would be agriculture.
Right.
It would be infrastructure. It would be also other construction. There is major construction going on. And then I think as the more specialist risks grow, like cyber risk, supply chain risk, and then a whole raft of other specialist risks, then I think that's where we will see our growth coming from.
Right, like you mentioned, giving us individual categories where you see a lot of growth coming for Lloyds. What is the kind of growth expectation which you are coming to India with? I
think in India's case, I would see that growth being certainly ahead of GDP growth. I think I'm right in saying that the non-life, non-retail insurance market is growing at roughly double the rate of GDP growth.
Right.
And that is a sign that insurance penetration is increasing. So that's good news. And we would certainly expect to see over the long term our business growing ahead of GDP growth.
As we are talking about the whole contentious issue of order of reinsurance preference which has been set by the insurance regulator, what is the kind of communication which Lloyds has had with the Indian government, with the insurance regulator?
At the moment we don't have, for international insurers, a level playing field because of the order of preference,
right,
where for a seeding Indian domestic insurer, there is an order of preference given to domestic,
right,
to the domestic reinsurers. We are working with the regulator and with the Indian government to see whether we can find ways of making that a level playing field over the next year or two. And if we succeed, then I would expect the level of entrance coming into the Lloyds market to increase.